Welcome back to Explanation Pro. Today we are going to recap a drama/romance movie released in the year 2010 titled Student Services. Let's begin. Laura, a brilliant young girl, is introduced at the beginning of the film who is in a class. Laura looked restless and kept clutching her stomach because she was feeling so nauseous. Laura, who is not strong enough to endure the pain. She fell unconscious in class while listening to a lecture. She discovers that her physique is weak as a result of her lack of food. Laura's financial scenario is dire and she is barely able to pay her college fee. Laura's teacher tells her to eat more meat in order to maintain healthy. But she refuses because meat is too expensive. As a result, her instructor advises her to sue her parents for failing to care for her. Laura rejects, claiming that her parents are unable to furnish her with money even if they wanted to, because each of her parents work. Laura shares an apartment with her boyfriend Manu. The place they split the rent. Both of them are having financial difficulties. Laura is actually a very diligent and smart girl. She also works as a freelancer after college. Laura's boyfriend is not like her. Her boyfriend has a very lazy nature to work and earn money. Even when they were having physicals, his boyfriend preferred to be quiet and let Laura satisfy him. The electricity company switches off the power because their payments for electricity are past due. Laura will become dissatisfied with her existing fame and chooses to look for another part-time job. After some browsing, she comes across an ad for a man named Joe, who is looking for lovely young students to massage. Laura applies for the job because he is supplying a good salary. Joe sends Laura a photo of himself and explains that they will not be getting physical. Laura goes to a resort the next day to meet Joe. After entering the hotel room, Joe fingers Laura a note in which she is instructed to undress first. Although she hesitates and is apprehensive at first, she steadily removes her clothes. Laura is told to shower after she is stripped down to her underwear. When she exits the bathroom, she notices Joe and his undies laying on the bed. Laura feels embarrassed by the whole thing, however Joe, being the professional that he is, continues to give her instructions. Joe and Laura start discussing about their non-public lives after a time of stroking each other. Joe pays Laura the agreed-upon amount when the timer runs out. Laura is thrilled with her first paycheck and plans a small get-together with her pals. Laura works part-time in a call center in her spare time. She continues to attract greater high-paying clients. She locates her second customer a few days later and arranges to meet him at a nearby restaurant. This is the man's first time performing something like this, and he is nervous as a result. Laura advises him to take him somewhere quiet. The man leads her to a parking lot where they are alone. Laura is greater confident this time and uses her hands and mouth to heat up the man's mating machine. The man, however, is looking for more than simply a massage and forces himself on Laura, who is absolutely helpless in the circumstances. He leaves Laura there when he's finished, and can pay Laura for forcing himself on her. Laura returns home and tells Manu about her ordeal, in the hopes of eliciting some sympathy from him. Manu, on the other hand, is unconcerned about Laura's cries. Laura, enraged, decides to end her relationship with him and vacates as residence. Laura researches whenever she can. As her examinations approach, she meets a man named Benjamin. While studying at a nearby tavern, the two become quite close after some consuming and conversing. Benjamin kisses Laura. As he walks again to his house, she also kisses and cuddles him, since he brings her comfort. Laura works as a model for adult magazines in her spare time to complement her income. The photographer invites Laura to participate in an adult video with a guy and a female who is also a student. After the photo shoot, Laura, on the other hand, refuses, claiming that just because she posed naked for the image session doesn't mean she'll allow everybody to touch her body. Laura strikes up a conversation with one of her pals who, like her, offers adult services. Laura's acquaintance discloses that she has worked for over 20 different consumers and has made a lot of money, which she has spent on expensive gifts. Laura realizes that many of her wealthy woman classmates may be giving adult services in the equal way she does. The prospect of being able to buy extravagant gifts each time she wants tempts her. Laura is working as a maid when the owner of the house tactics her and offers her to live with him, since he is drawn to her attractiveness. The owner of the residence wants her body as payment, so she doesn't have to pay rent for the room. Laura explains that she needs some time to consider it. She reminds herself that she is not an Avenue woman and that the only reason she is supplying adult services is to pay for her university tuition. Laura administers the college exams and receives good results. Laura decides to get a laptop computer to help her study extra effectively as her final semester exam approaches. However, she discovers that she is unable to buy a laptop due to a lack of funds. So she contacts her first customer, Joe, in the hopes of making some rapid cash from him. The next day, she meets Joe in the resort room and discovers a laptop which Joe had given her as a gift. Joe, however, wants greater this time in exchange for such a costly gift. As a result, he ties Laura up and gets physical with her. Laura, on the other hand, manages to launch herself and swiftly dresses. She grabs the laptop, accepts her cash and dashes home. Laura is terrified by using the occurrence, since she may have died if she hadn't managed to free herself from the shackles. She invites Benjamin to her region later, because she needs to talk to anyone about her pain. Laura tells him about her ordeal and informs him that she provides adult services. Benjamin, on the other hand, is unconcerned about it and consults Laura, telling her that he cares about her and doesn't mind what she does for a living. Laura regains her self-assurance and continues offering adult services to her customers. She juggles her new work and her training at the same time. She scarcely has time for Benjamin. As a result of this, when one of Laura's customers keeps contacting her and disturbing their date night, he loses his cool. Laura goes to see Joe once more one day, despite the fact that she knows what he did to her the prior time. When Benjamin learns of this, he is enraged due to the fact he believes Laura is simply interested in the cash and no longer loves him. Laura expresses her regret to Benjamin and tells him that she will no longer see Joe. She even kisses Benjamin below his abdomen. But Benjamin is worn out of being jealous all of the time and decides to end their relationship. Laura also loses her cool and assaults Benjamin, claiming that because he never went to college, he has no concept what it takes to work for a living. Benjamin is also referred to as a spoiled papa's boy by her. She goes to the photographer enraged and needs him to remove all of her images. When the photographer refuses, Laura will become enraged and assault him. She's certainly misplaced at this factor and chooses to provide up. When she informs Joe about her ambitions to begin over in Paris, he affords her 1,000 greenbacks to spend 5 hours with him. As a result, Laura is of the same opinion to meet him once more due to the fact the cash ought to assist her pay her bills. Laura is requested to attend an express movie with his different buddies at a membership the place the two of them go. Laura is uneasy in her surroundings, but she tries to put up with it for a few extra hours. She is then escorted to a secluded room, where she is exploited through Joe and his friends. Laura showers and leaves the club. After that, after serving Joe and their friends, she is extraordinarily exhausted. She returns to the inn with Joe and asks that he pay her the agreed upon some proper way. She goes to the restroom and sobs alone, since the guys had degraded and raped her. When she emerges from the toilet, she discovers an envelope on the mattress containing solely $100. Joe took advantage of her problem and defrauded her by way of imparting her $10. She discovers a letter from Joe in which he guarantees to pay the final stability the subsequent time they meet. Laura feels helpless in her situation due to the fact no matter how challenging she tries to quit, she is compelled to return to the personal enterprise in some way. She goes to the college the subsequent day and informs her buddy that she is leaving the town. Laura asks a buddy to supply her notes so she can find out about the assessments barring attending any courses. Laura no longer has the courage to stay in humiliation in the metropolis that has taken so lots from her. She boards the instructor and hides in the restroom due to the fact she would not have ample cash to buy a ticket. She telephones Joe and asks him to pay the stability, however Joe informs her that he has most cancers and is unable to switch her funds. Laura goes into a friend's room after touchdown in Paris. She goes out the subsequent day to work, however she is unable to do so, because all organizations are searching for full-time employees. However, after a duration of struggle, she is capable of invulnerable employment at a restaurant. Laura returns to the town that almost shattered her life. On the days of her closing examinations, Laura takes the examination seriously, on account that she desires to reap her goals. Laura is thrilled to discover that she handed the examination with flying shades on the day of the results, and she celebrates with her new friends. She calls Joe one final time to inform him that she has graduated with honors. She doesn't have to sell her body anymore and she can finally live a respectable life doing what she enjoys. She becomes a writer and publishes a book on her struggles as a student, which becomes a national sensation almost immediately. Thousands of students live in terrible poverty and many more struggle to pay for their education. She says in a live interview, it is for this reason that the majority of female students begin giving adult services to help pay for their expenses. It isn't a choice for them. It is a necessity to exist, and this is where the movie ends. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's recap. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel to get the interesting recaps like this. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye and take care.